Hello and welcome back to the Purple Fufu podcast. This is the second episode of the week. If you did not catch the first episode where we went over the Colts game, go ahead and check that out first. This one, we're going to be talking about the Giants game and the upcoming Packers game. My name is Theorist, and I'm here with my co-host, Bryce.
What's up, guys? Go listen to the Colts game. We talked a lot about that comeback. Don't know how it happened. I'm just happy it happened. I know Theorist said a lot talking about they're resilient, looking themselves in their mirror, looking themselves in the mirror and be like, all right, let's fight back from this. But yeah, happy that we got a dub. There was a record in the NFL with the largest comeback in NFL history, and there was quite a bit of records set for this from this Giants game on Saturday, huh?
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh, man, that was a really good game, man. I don't know. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, like you mentioned in the previous episode, it really felt like a playoff game.
Yeah.
And it probably will be a playoff game depending on how the Giants finish out the season.
Yeah, right now it could very well be that we play them. If we fall to the 3 seed and they take the 6 seed, well, that could absolutely be a playoff game again.
Yeah, it would be a very quick turnaround, but I think I'd be feeling pretty good about that one.
I would be like, I know it's still early to talk about playoffs, but I would be okay if we had to play Washington, or I don't know if Seattle's still in the hunt or if they're still in the playoffs. I would feel comfortable playing Seattle, Washington, or the Giants. Those are like the 3 teams I feel most comfortable that we could beat at home.
For sure. And you're right. There's still a lot that has to go on. But it's still fun to think about. For now, though, that Christmas Eve game against the Giants, unfortunately, they kind of walked back a lot of the praises that I gave out, especially on defense. Against the Colts, the defense was really good. Our cornerbacks were really good. We really shut down that offense. And it wasn't a great offense, but we still shut him down. Jonathan Taylor, although he's having a down year, is still a superstar running back, and we really shut him down. Against the Giants, we really didn't do much shutting down of anything.
Yeah, except shooting ourselves in our foot. That was about it.
Yeah, it seems to be a theme.
Hey, I mean, we came away with a dub. That's all that, like, and I think it's ultimately like one of those games that's going to prepare the team for the playoffs. Because like we've said this last episode and even this episode, we've already said it a couple times. It felt like a playoff game. Just like there was no, like, once one team gained momentum, they shut it down and the other team got it. So like it truly felt like we saw wild card or a divisional game already.
Yeah, I think what this Giants team showed them was a good indication of what they're going to be facing in the playoffs. On offense, Daniel Jones is a limited quarterback, but he's very mobile and he will burn you on the ground. He didn't really do that. They kind of made Jones throw, and unfortunately, he cooked us. It worked for the Giants. But like I said, they didn't let him burn him on the ground. And as far as Saquon Barkley,
he kind of had a quiet game.
He kind of had, I would say he had a decent game. He didn't blow up on us. He had that late run that was about 20 yards for a touchdown. But otherwise, like you said, he went overall 14 carries, 84 yards in that touchdown. Pretty good, not terrible, I guess.
Yeah, the only thing that pisses me off is that, again, and I tweeted about it, is that we had some 7-Eleven worker off the street come and cook us. He cooked us. Fucking Isaiah Hodgins or whatever his name is. Never heard of this guy. He's from a 7-Eleven worker on 7th Street. Fucking comes in and cooks Pat P. But lucky for us, Pat P got the last laugh because there was a bunch of trash talk between those two.
Yeah, it was going all game, and the entire time I was like, who is this dude?
Yeah.
But you're right, Pat P got the last laugh. But like that whole receiving core, like Richie James cooked us, Hodgins obviously, Darius Slayton cooked us. Like it does not inspire confidence.
Their tight ends cooked us. But one, I'm gonna bring out a shout out to one of our players already. Fucking Brian Asamoah. Keep him in.
Yeah.
That chop block or that tomahawk punch, and he got that fumble recovery too. That swung the game for us.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Brian Asamoah, I didn't dish out any praise for him against the Colts because I really wanted to save it for this episode. That dude is on fire right now. He needs to
Mm-hmm.
be starting over Jordan Hicks. The problem was beforehand, like he was way more athletic and he was just a better player all around than Jordan Hicks, but he wasn't ready because he didn't know the playbook. He was making the wrong reads, and that's okay. He was a third round
Mm-hmm.
rookie. That's what you'd expect.
Right.
He's not really making those mistakes anymore. Of course, they're still going to happen, one or two a game. It's kind of what we saw against the Giants, but his
Mm-hmm.
usage scaled up as the game went on. And it seemed like he just kept playing better and better as the game went on.
Yeah, dude, he's like a ball hawk, not like trying to pick it off or anything, but that man will watch the ball and gets there so fast. I
Oh,
was
yeah.
noticed, like, I watched it at home, obviously, because it was Christmas Eve, but I was watching it and I was like, oh my God, Brian Asamoah, another tackle. Brian Asamoah with the tomahawk chop. Oh my God, that's Brian Asamoah that picked up his own fumble recovery. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Kwesi, like I think, found a diamond in the third round, and as much shit as people give Kwesi, it's like his first year, and the players that he drafted, obviously, besides Lewis Seed and Caleb Evans and Andrew Booth, like the players that he drafted are kind of like doing their job.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're right. The whole flame the general manager for their first draft class the year that they picked him is just
Yeah.
stupid. I think like we can all agree on that. And then like what's to say like next year Brian Asamoah, the starting linebacker alongside Eric Kendricks or somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? Maybe Lewis Cine takes the job from Cam Ingram or Cam Bynum. Uh, Ed Ingram, like
Yeah.
he's still not great, but he's
But
making less
he's
mistakes.
serviceable. He's
He's
serviceable.
serviceable. Luke Braun said it on his podcast today. He's having less bad plays and more good plays, and that's
Yeah.
what you'd expect out of a rookie. You know?
His first regular season is almost done. Like there's 2
Yeah.
weeks left in the season, and even like we've all agreed that like yes, he's a good player. No, he's not a good player, but now he's finally showing us, oh, he can be like an average guard, and that's all we're asking for
Yep.
is just average O line play. And I saw a thing today that apparently the Vikings are like top 10 in O line play or something. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what? That blows my mind.
Yeah. In order to keep that up, we are absolutely going to need Garrett Bradbury back.
Yeah.
Which kind of a funny thing to
It's
say
weird to
after
say.
after all these years of him being a total liability, but he's really balled up this year, and I'm so proud of
And
him. I've been
and
on
you know
the
what?
go ahead.
After seeing Austin Schlottman or however you say his last name, these last 2-3 weeks, resign Bradbury, please. Like, I'm sorry, I'm on the resign Bradbury train.
Yeah.
Whatever Kevin O'Connell has done with Garrett Bradbury, I love it because Bradbury has kind of been playing as a center like we've needed him to be.
I feel like me and like three other people were the only people left that had any like defensive Garrett Bradbury last season. This season, he's come around and I feel super vindicated. And you're right. I do not want to go through 4 more years of bad center play because we decided not to re-sign Garrett Bradbury,
Right. And I personally feel like me personally, again, I'm not a player. I'm not a beat reporter. I feel like Garrett Bradbury likes playing here. Like it kind of shows when he interacts with the media, when he interacts with Kirk and the rest of his own line. And even on the sidelines, it looks like he's actively wanting to be here. And I think O'Connell and Kwesi are going to re-sign him. We have a lot of re-signings to do in this offseason and next offseason.
Yeah, we do. And unfortunately, that's going to come with a lot of players that we have had around for a really long time getting moved. But that's the way of the business. We have a long off season ahead of us to talk about that.
Yeah.
I'm just enjoying the vibes right now, and I'm so excited for the future with especially Brian Asamoah. This might be the tweet that you were referring to last episode. I tweeted out a picture, just 2 linebackers that were picked in the third round.
No,
Brian
it's
Asamoah,
not this one.
It's not this one. I was still really proud of this one. Just a couple of linebackers that were, third round draft picks, nothing special. One was 66th, one was 70th. Doesn't matter. Brian Asamoah, he's pretty well. And the other one is, Fred Warner, the best linebacker since Luke Kuechly. No
Mm.
correlation here. I just thought it was interesting.
No, the tweet, I think it was you. I could be wrong, but I think it was Dexter Lawrence they pictured.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And your tweet was like, "Oh, I love seeing the media pan to future Minnesota Vikings players in their prime," or something like,
It, so my tweet was, it was pretty similar. It
yeah,
was like, given the Vikings have created a tradition
that's what it
of,
was. Yep.
yeah, here it is. Since the Vikings have made a tradition of signing good Giants defensive tackles in their prime, I'm really glad to see Dexter Lawrence getting reps in his future home stadium.
That's what it was. I died. And then I was like, is that true? And then I was like, oh, yeah, because Dalvin Tomlinson played on the
Dalvin
Giants
Tomlinson,
and
Linval
Linval
Joseph.
Joseph. Yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, yeah, Theorist got a good point. Dexter
And
Lawrence, welcome to Minnesota.
welcome to Minnesota. He'll be here. And the thing that I'm excited about too, like those two, Tomlinson and Joseph, they were both pretty good in New York. They were good players. They elevated their game to another level when they got to Minnesota. If this Dexter Lawrence elevates his game a whole nother level when he gets to Minnesota, he's going to be Vita Vea. I'm just getting y'all ready for it right now.
No, yeah, please. Because, like, honestly, everybody was like, why is this Giants game so close? The Giants defense isn't bad. Like, they have a really
Yeah.
good defense. I will say the NFC East, their defenses are all really good.
Yeah.
Even the Commanders, like they have a really good defensive conference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Giants defense was a little bit weakened because they were missing
Hmm.
two of their top players in the secondary. Adoree Jackson and Xavier McKinney were both out. But like you said, they still have a very good defense. That front seven has Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeau, and Leonard Williams in it. Those are, and Azeez
Hmm.
Ojulari. That's a very solid, like,
Front
front
four,
seven, yeah, front four for
yeah.
sure. And I mean, they brought in like Landon Collins, apparently their
Hmm.
old like all pro safety to play linebacker. But
Yeah,
like, that's a good defense.
yeah. But can we talk about our offense for a little bit?
Let's
Because,
do it.
like, I don't know. I feel like the offense wasn't as good as it has been, but it was definitely like really good enough to win when it mattered the most. Like fourth quarter, again, our offense sprang into action. And again, that's why I'm saying this felt like a playoff game because we've seen Kirk do that in the playoffs. We saw it in 2019 when we went down to New Orleans when they were 13-3. Kirk had like a minute something left to go, and he brought us in to the end red zone, and we got the touchdown to send it to OT.
Mm-hmm.
Walks us down and wins it in overtime. So Kirk has, I don't know if it's an actual clutch gene, but since coming to Minnesota, got to give credit where credit's due. When we've asked him to step up in the fourth, he has, especially this year. And that's kind of what we're going to need in the playoffs, man.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Like, the clutch gene has been evenly distributed across both units this year, but
Yes.
the
Yeah.
offense and Kirk Cousins have had numerous game-winning drives, like as time was expiring, basically.
Hmm.
And this, I guess this technically counts as one of them, but
Well, yeah.
they
Yeah.
they did what they had to do when they had to do it. You know?
Yeah, and like the thing that sticks out in my mind is, and I tweet about it all the time, I hate seeing screenplays after screenplays after screenplays.
Yeah.
We ran a lot of screenplays that were all blown up, like in the backfield, except for one. And who did it go to? Justin Jefferson, and he got like 14 or 15 yards out of it to bring us into six potential game-winning touch or field goal, which it was. It was a career long for Greg Joseph, but that just shows me how much confidence this team has in Justin Jefferson, knowing that all of his other screenplays have gotten blown up, but they chose the right personnel to be like, all right, let's go fucking win this thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Justin Jefferson, of course, had another league leading outstanding day. That's kind of just the norm for him. My dad actually made a pretty funny comment. He was like, Justin Jefferson had a spectacular day. It feels kind of quiet,
Yep.
and the stat line looks almost like elementary for him. If you put that stat line next to any other wide receiver in the NFL, except maybe Tyreek Hill, you're like, oh,
Oh,
that's
that's a good
spectacular.
yeah.
And he does this every week.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
amazing player.
And I think you're going to bring up one other person who had a great game for us. So go ahead so I don't steal your thunder.
Yeah, that's TJ Hawkinson. TJ
Yeah.
Hawkinson really stepped up in this game. This was the first time that I felt like he not took over, but he was the perfect complement to Justin Jefferson because Hawkinson now caught 13 passes, 109 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He really like answered the bell when his number was called.
And I'm going to eat some crow. And maybe this is why he did so well because I tweeted out TJ Hawkinson can't catch anymore, or like TJ Hawkinson drops all the balls. And then after I said that, he went off. So TJ Hawkinson, if you're listening to this, I still love you, man. We're both Iowa boys. No hate. It was my game day emotions got to me. Thank you for leading us to a victory, especially that sick grab that he had in the end zone
Oh
over
my
two
God.
defenders.
Dirty.
Oh, and
It,
that toe tap
yeah.
in the first touchdown,
Oh yeah.
which I wouldn't mind seeing that white out, like the white design every now and then, because it looks kind of sick.
Yeah, I like it. You know, I think it's okay that you were upset about the drops. Tight ends and drops this year have been so rough, especially with Irv Smith earlier in the season.
Mm-hmm.
And Hawkinson himself didn't have the surest of hands when he first got here. You were not the only one who was like, "Oh, Hawkinson sucks. He has no hands." Yeah. It's like, well, and it happened early in the game, and I was like, "Oh my God, please prove these people wrong. Please do." And he did.
He did, yeah. But speaking of that, Irv Smith might be back, and that could help our offense too. Like,
yeah, so they activated him off the IR, which
yeah, he has 21 days. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
He has 21. They have 21 days to like put him on the roster or something like that. I think like the activation window, or no, that never mind. I'm thinking of like taking him off the IR. He's already off the IR, but
sure.
Like, think about it. If we had, and even we have a kind of good like tight end room. If we have tight or TJ as one, Irv as two, and even Johnny Munn as tight end three, like that's a really solid tight end room.
Mm-hmm.
And it'd be very interesting to see how defenses scheme this for the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're going to see a lot of experimentation in these past 2 games, or in these last 2 games against the Packers and Bears. I'm really curious to see what they try to cook up, because I've seen a lot of talk about Irv Smith adding like a dimension to this offense that Kevin O'Connell had in mind when they went and got TJ Hawkinson. But it was my understanding that they got TJ Hawkinson to replace Irv Smith, because like the trade happened after the injury. But at the same time, TJ Hawkinson is a very dynamic player, more dynamic than Irv Smith. And if Irv Smith can be a solid receiving threat and TJ Hawkinson can just do his thing, I do think that can be really interesting and add a lot of layers to this offense.
Yeah, I totally agree, but be interesting. Like, let's just say that Irv does come back and ball out. Now the question is, do you sign him to a 1-year prove it deal because he's a free agent, or do you let him walk? Because he's going to want to be paid a lot because he's a tight end, and tight ends are getting paid big money.
Yeah.
And we'd also have to repay TJ Hawkinson.
Mm-hmm.
But that's something we can discuss further. This Giants game, Justin Jefferson, again, solidified himself as the MVP candidate.
Yes, sir. We mentioned that last game against the Colts as well, but give it to him. He is the most valuable non-quarterback, and it is a quarterback award, but it shouldn't be. So make it right, NFL.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I did want to comment before we let that go. I think Irv Smith is probably gone next year.
Yeah.
TJ Hawkinson's 5th-year option was picked up by the Lions, so that means he will be owed Yeah, he'll be owed 9 million next year, which I think is good.
Mhm.
Like that's good. I don't think they can justify giving that level of money to Irv Smith, and
No,
I know that he knows he can be a tight end one somewhere else, similar to what Tyler Conklin just did with the Jets.
yeah, yeah.
Which,
No, I totally agree. I just was like hypothetically like, if
yeah,
he kind of balls out, it would be interesting. But
it would be
no,
very fun, and if they can pull it off, I would support it.
no, they're definitely gonna be paying TJ and JJ lots of money to stay in Minnesota
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
I love how much that having TJ Hawkinson, it opens the field for Kirk to just like sling it downfield, or even like a slight check down can get us 15 yards. And that's awesome that TJ Hawkinson can do that for us.
Yeah, and I think you've commented on this. A lot of people have commented on this. Even when TJ Hawkinson isn't really like supremely contributing to the offense and putting up major numbers like he did this weekend, he is still having a huge impact on the offense because the offense moves way more efficiently when he's on the field.
Mm-hmm. It does. Like he's and no, I'm not gonna discredit Johnny Munt because even in the Giants game, he had a big like screenplay that got us a first down or something. But when like Johnny Munt is like mainly a blocking tight end for us. Irv Smith was like hope we would be hoping to see a blocking and receiving threat tight end. TJ Hawkinson is all of that. TJ Hawkinson has some nasty blocks for on Dalvin runs, and even on some JJ plays, like he has some nasty blocks. And so it's going to be interesting, like we've said before, how far this offense can go when we get a younger, more dynamic quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. Were there any other thoughts you had on the Giants game before we move on to the Packers?
Yeah, no, just those like that final 2 minutes, just totally playoff game back and forth. But shout out to Greg Joseph for
Ice in his
having
veins.
ice in his veins, even having that timeout before like going up to kick, and he just went up there, did his thing, and has the longest record in Vikings field goal history. So
Yeah.
like we said last episode, balling out. Let's just keep it up, Craig. Keep it up.
Yeah. Kickers are creatures of habit. When they're in a rhythm, they are in a rhythm. And that's
Yep.
a rhythm kick for sure.
Also, I do want to talk about Ryan Wright kind of had a bad game on Sunday or Saturday, and I think it's from that blocked punt from the Colts game. Somebody brought it up, and he looked a little bit more shaky.
I could see
And
it. I mean, that was
it,
his first punt that got blocked as a pro.
yeah, but I think in the second half his punting was better. But it was just weird to see that because Ryan Wright has been like a great punter for us all
Yeah.
season.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I think with another week under his belt, knowing that like that doesn't happen very often, he'll be okay. He'll turn it
Yeah.
around.
Yeah. So do you have any final thoughts on that Giants game?
Um, nothing that we haven't really gone over. I think, like you said, it did feel like a playoff game. I was disappointed by the defense in the secondary in particular getting shredded by Daniel Jones, but it's nothing new. We kind of commented in the Colts game. They're experimenting. They're trying a lot of new things, and they will continue to try a lot of new things in these final two games, um, especially on defense. So that might not be such an outlier, and that's okay. Like this team knows that they made the playoffs. They know that they have the second or third seed no matter what happens, and I'm okay with that. You know?
It's totally okay with them experimenting for
Yeah,
because the playoffs is a totally different breed, and we're going to see offenses do dynamic things. So yeah, I think it's cool that they're experimenting. Whatever,
yeah,
we're still making the
absolutely.
playoffs. It's all that matters to me. And we weren't even projected to make the playoffs. So no matter what happens, I'm going to say this constantly. No matter what happens at the end of the playoffs, I'm not going to get too discouraged because we weren't even supposed to make it to the playoffs this year.
Exactly. All right. Shall we get into the Packers game?
Yeah,
This
I
how are you feeling about this game?
I don't know. I I feel like for the first game in a while, this is a game that I feel like we could lose. If you want
Really?
my opinion, yeah, like I don't know because it's the Packers. We are playing them at Lambeau, and Aaron Rodgers has kind of found like his footing again. Not like Aaron Rodgers esque, but like he's looking like a competent quarterback this year. And yeah, Christian Watson scares me now after what I had
Now,
to say week one when he couldn't catch that 75-yard pass. I think he's going to toast our secondary this weekend.
yeah, it's interesting that you think this was the first game in a while that they could have lost. I told a few people this, and I didn't get the chance to tell it on the podcast because there was no episode. I thought we were going to lose the game against the Giants because we were just coming off an emotional win, and we were coming off an emotional celebration of clinching the North. But they pulled it out. I think we're going to lose this game too.
Yeah.
And I
And
was wrong last week. I hope I'll be wrong this week, but
yeah, I don't know. It just feels like one of those typical like games that we should win, but just feels like we're going to lose because the Packers are in a must win like scenario to still make it into the playoffs. And like we don't have to really play for anything besides seeding. And
mm-hmm.
as much as I would love that one seed, we're already solidified into the playoffs, like we've said. But even if we lose, it's not really going to affect us much. I just feel like this is a game we're going to lose.
Yeah, and you're right. Seating is pretty like it's pretty set.
Yeah.
Like we're playing to eliminate the Packers from the playoffs. That matters to the fans way more than it matters
Yep.
to the players, let me tell you. But like I don't know. I'm not super convinced by this Packers team right now. Like they beat the Dolphins, whose secondary isn't very good. They beat the Rams, who is really bad. They beat the Bears. Like, sure, like let Aaron Rodgers cook, I guess, and he's going to cook our defense. I'm not that concerned about that. Like,
Yeah.
this game doesn't matter.
I don't know. I just feel like something just like because we truly haven't had and I don't want to bring it up because if it does happen everybody's going to blame it on me. But we truly haven't had a Kirk full on meltdown game yet. Knock on wood. Like because the Eagles game and the Cowboys game was just bad for both, like the whole team. And I'm worried that this is going to be the game just for some reason because it's in Lambeau. It's on CBS, not Fox. It's at like 3:25 on New Year's Day. For some reason, it just feels like everything's aligning up for it to be a very bad Vikings game. And I don't know why I'm feeling like this. I truly don't. And I hate that I'm feeling like this.
Yeah, I get what you're feeling. I don't know where it's coming from. I would say I feel like the Colts game was kind of a Kirk meltdown because he threw two bad interceptions
That's true.
and he kind of rebounded. But like
Yeah.
I think my whole thing, like I'm getting bad vibes from this game. I think it's because of Peter Bukowski and all these other Packers fans on Twitter just talking about it nonstop. It's like, bro, shut up. We do
Oh,
not
yeah.
care.
We get it that you guys should theoretically be first in the division with like 14 wins, but you're not. Like you're fucking not. You're 7-7. You're 500 for the first time all season, and now you're worried because the Vikings could eliminate you and could potentially eliminate Aaron Rodgers' career in Green Bay because frankly he's probably going to be a Raider next season
Could you
because Derek Carr
imagine?
is going to get cut.
Oh my God. That's the one like silver lining, the opportunity to end the Packers season at Lambeau.
Yeah.
Very, very enticing for me, at least. I don't know if the
Yeah,
players feel the same way.
yeah. I don't know. Maybe the players do feel like that. Maybe because there's a lot of Pat P's a veteran. Like he's only been on the Vikings for 2 seasons now, his second season now. Um, But he knows how big that rivalry is. We're gonna have Zadarius Smith for his first game back at Lambeau. He's probably gonna have a monster game because is Bakhtiari healthy as he's playing? Because
I don't know.
the last like few match games we've played, he hasn't wanted to play the Vikings. I think he's scared of the Vikings.
Tell
But
him, call him out.
I I don't know. Maybe the defense has a good game for us and that's why we win. But I just want one of these last two games to be one of those games where everything comes together for us: offense, special teams, and defense.
Mm.
And I don't know what I really want. What would be the ice top of the cake for me this week? We eliminate Lambeau or we eliminate the Packers in Lambeau. But what would be even better? JJ only needs 209 yards to break 2,000. I would love to see him get 210 yards this game.
That would be
So, and
insane.
we eliminate the Packers. So everything just falls on like the Packers are shit. Like,
Yeah, that would be insane. Everyone, do not lose sight of the true goal here. Playoff seeding, don't care. That's already set. We need Justin Jefferson to get 210 yards against the Packers. We need it. We need it mad right now.
Dude, I'm just thinking like how crazy would that be if that actually happens? Because then we can officially say he owns Jair Alexander.
We can already say that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Going back to Christian Watson, it's the same thing with Christian Watson, with the Packers, Vikings in general, with Jair Alexander, just the narratives that are around these players like involving the Vikings. You're right. Christian Watson is going to shred this Vikings team. He's probably going to catch a bomb touchdown that's going to light Twitter on fire. And Jair Alexander is probably going to get an interception on Kirk. And people aren't going to shut the hell up about it. But in the grand scheme of things, they don't really matter. Like I keep saying that. I feel like a broken record, and I'm really sorry about that. It doesn't.
But
it really doesn't matter. It is like it's true. This team will be experimenting heavy because Aaron Rodgers is a unique quarterback who he has unique abilities that you can kind of like line it up like like Lamar, I guess not Lamar, Josh Allen light or Patrick Mahomes light or Jalen Hurts light. Like this is a good offense. Like you could have used that excuse that they were a bad offense when we first played them. Not anymore. This is a solid offense with solid players. There's going to be a lot of experimenting on defense, and that's inevitably going to lead to us getting cooked. And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
And what we probably also have to realize is that this is the starters' probably last game of the season because there's like, and I hate being like the Debbie Downer, but like, unless Jefferson's like receiving record is in sight, I feel like Kevin O'Connell's gonna like want to sit him so we don't risk him week 18. But we're probably gonna see a heavy dosage of our secondary unit on the last game of the season to get ready for playoffs. And so that's why I'm with you, theorist. Like we're gonna see lots of experimentation this game because this is probably going to be our starters' last game of the season, or at least on offense anyway.
Yeah,
I don't know about defense.
I don't think they have anybody on defense that they care to rest that much, to be totally honest. But I don't know. Like people are going to read into this game way more than they should, especially Peter Bukowski and some of those Packer fans. Do your thing, man. Do what makes you happy.
Could just cry for another week.
Yeah. To my Vikings fans, don't worry about it. Like it's gonna be okay. But if they do win, don't shut up about it until we make until we're in the playoffs. Like let them know. Like talk your shit.
Because they would absolutely talk their shit against us. And a lot of Packer fans are dumb. I don't know if any of you guys saw this on Twitter, but there was some guy that was like, "Oh, Aaron Rodgers is undefeated in December." And then Vikings Twitter cooked him, and they were all like, "Well, good thing we play in January."
Yeah. Yeah, come at us. We're not afraid of your December. Yeah,
like, oh, this is going to be, if you guys beat us, congratulations on your Super Bowl. Hang the banner. Like, we're just, anything that they said to us, we're just going to throw it right back at them because we're going to be in the playoffs and they're not.
Yeah.
Well, look, there's like
Well,
I think it's a small chance that they're in the playoffs, but everything has to line up for them.
yeah, do your thing. Whatever. We don't care.
Yeah,
Even though this game doesn't matter, and I firmly believe that, I still want to do game predictions. I think the Packers are favored by 3 points right
3.5.
now, 3.5. So then on a neutral field, they're favored by 2. So it's basically a toss up. What do you think in the final score is going to be?
Oh, I don't know, man. I think it's a divisional game, and I think it's gonna be a low scoring divisional game.
Okay.
It's going to be New Year's Day in Lambeau. It's probably going to be a cold game. I don't know. Uh, I think, and as much as I said, I don't know. I want my gut is telling me Vikings win 17-14, but I'm also like saying that score could be flipped to the Packers. But my gut is telling me Vikings win 17-14. Greg Joseph gets another game winning field goal as time expires. That's just how my gut is feeling. I know I said I feel like we're going to lose because of all the things I laid out, but my gut is just saying Vikings win 17-14.
Man, another Greg Joseph game winner as time expires. I don't know if
Yeah.
I could handle that. Um, so the weather in Green Bay is actually going to be pretty good. It's going to be like partly cloudy, mid 30s during the game. Wind's going to be like manageable, like under 10 miles an hour. So it should be like pretty good. Um, with that said, I might have to go the other direction. I think the Vikings, like I said, I think the Vikings are going to lose. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have his way about the same way that Daniel Jones did. I think it's going to be it's tough because I have to decide whether or not the Vikings lose their first one score game of the season. I think
That's
they do.
very true.
I think they do. I think this is a narrative game, and I think Peter Bukowski has been digging for this all season for the Vikings to lose their first one score game, and I think he gets his wish. I think it's going to be 24-18.
24-18.
Yep.
Okay.
I probably said that. It's 24-16 that I always say. 24-18 this game is going to be.
Well, I hope that I'm correct and you're wrong.
Me too.
Uh, but I don't know. It's going to be a closer game than I think. I don't think we're going to see a blowout unless like something drastic happens. But I would love to see the Vikings just ultimately crumble the Packers season on Sunday at 3:25. It's so
Yeah.
weird. It's so weird that both Packers games were at 3:25 this year.
It's always game of the week, especially since the Vikings have become like a decent team in recent
Yeah,
years. It's always game of the week. And
yeah.
I'm fine with that. You know,
Just remember, it's on CBS this week, not Fox.
that's right.
So,
I don't know.
all right.
To everyone
I
listening, just enter that game, open
Yeah,
mind. Let's have fun with it.
I'm gonna try my best to not emotionally tweet this game because, like we've said all episode, we're gonna be seeing a lot of experimenting. So I might be really quiet on Twitter unless it's just an absolute shit show. If it's an absolute shit show, then Twitter's gonna be wild. But if it's like, oh, okay, we lost like a close game, 17-14, that's fine. But like unless it's like a Dallas game, which I don't think it's going to be because the Packers defense really isn't that good. Um, yeah, I'm gonna be kind of chill on Twitter this week. So
I have no idea how I'm going to be on Twitter this week. I get the sense that if it's like just a slaughter fest from the beginning, then I will be. I think that I don't know. I think that the Bukowski narratives and the other Twitter narratives are gonna have their way with me. I think I'm gonna get really tilted and probably go quiet unless the Vikings win. Then I'm tweeting a million tweets that day, and I'm never letting any Packer fan live it down ever. So,
oh wait, so I just found the Green Bay Packers injury report for this week.
oh, let's hear it.
Okay, so Jair forearm injury, full practice. Bakhtiari was limited practice. Chris
Mm.
Barnes, a linebacker, and Rudy Ford, safeties, were both full practice. Elton Jenkins was a limited practice. Aaron Jones was limited practice. Uh, one of their tackles, Josh Nijman, was a limited practice. Christian Watson did not practice with a hip
Oh,
injury. One of their cornerbacks did not practice, and
was it?
Aaron Rodgers, the Keyshawn Nixon is their
Okay.
cornerback,
Okay.
and Aaron Rodgers is apparently not practicing at all this week, but he's projected to play.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers will play. He's fine.
Yeah.
Um, I th- I don't know. That's really interesting. The most interesting name on there for me is Bakhtiari, because he hasn't played in a really long time, and the Packers are going to want to get him as many reps as possible before the playoffs. But at the same time, if there's a guy who's injured, maybe like an Aaron Jones or a Christian Watson, um, if they're dealing with something, they might not want to push it. Maybe they feel confident enough in their ability to win this game and beat the Lions and, make the playoffs. I'm glad I'm not Matt LaFleur because I would hate to make that decision.
Yeah. I just think this game's going to be a lot closer than we all expect. Win or lose, I don't really care. I mean, it would be great if we won, but I'm not going to be upset if we lose just because it literally has zero effect on the rest of the season, this game
Yeah.
or next game. Because I'm sorry, we're probably not getting the 1 seed. Like, I don't see us winning out
I don't see the
because
Eagles losing out.
and we'll probably be starting our secondary unit next week. So, yeah, we're going to be locked into 2 or 3 seed. This week doesn't matter. Next week doesn't matter. Let's just get ready for playoffs.
Yeah. The one thing I will say, this game doesn't matter. You and I are in agreement in that. If our other co-host Slimeball was here, I know that he would say, doesn't fucking matter if this game matters or not. It's the Packers. Go punch him in the mouth. Go kick the shit out of him. And I can get behind that too.
I can get behind that too. Yeah, I will. I will agree with that. But to us, the game doesn't matter. To Slimeball, it does matter. So Slimeball, here's to you. What do we think Slimeball's final score prediction would be?
I don't know. We should have texted him beforehand. I get the feeling that he thinks we would lose this game. I don't know, just because the Vegas odds favor the Packers, and the game doesn't matter to us nearly as much as it does to them. The Packers are kind of humming right now. I bet it'd be probably pretty close to mine. A 1-score game victory for the Packers.
Yeah. Well, I guess next week we'll be hopefully talking about this Vikings game in a good way, or just like an experimental way, what we saw, what we liked, what we didn't like. Regardless, thanks for listening. We do apologize for getting these episodes out so late. We just crazy holiday season. We do want to thank you for being our listeners, though, as the holiday season in 2022 is wrapping up. We started out with just like kind of spitballing ideas, and now we have a weekly show, and we appreciate you guys a lot. So thanks for tuning in. PFF regular season is out, and next week, hopefully, we'll be talking about a Packers W or Vikings W, not a Packers W.
Yeah, watch
Vikings
what you're saying
w.
there. Yeah, thanks again, everybody. Have a happy new year. Stay safe, and Skol Vikes.
Skol Vikes.